Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at two different wireless noise cancelling headphones. So one of them is a pair that I've actually shown before on my channel. This is the Bowers & Wilkins PX7 S2. Actually I did a video review comparing this one against a whole bunch of other noise cancelling headphones, and I personally like this one the best. Just this one is a different color because yeah, I like to have the blue gold color instead. So this is the blue gold color version of it. And we'll be taking a look at a new contender, which I didn't get to do a comparison of last time, which is the DALI IO6. So yeah, I think these two should be competing roughly around the same levels. I know the Bowers & Wilkins has the PX8, but that's actually even higher level than the IO6. But roughly you can say like the Bowers & Wilkins you can find for around $400 US right now. The DALI IO6, $400 to $500 US. So a little bit more expensive, but roughly they're still, I guess, competing in the same range. And yes, I know now Bowers & Wilkins has the PX7 S2E. That's their newer version, but as far as I can tell, they just basically did a few changes, I think, to the DAC inside of it or something to make it better for streaming, but nothing too major. So there's no like major changes with the S2E, and plus this version I got for cheaper because it's kind of the old model now. So actually that's why it has this warehouse deals thing on it. I got this for $300 actually, so I'm quite happy with getting this older version. Shouldn't be too different. So yeah, do a comparison today. So let's do the unboxings. First, let's go with the Bowers & Wilkins. So Bowers & Wilkins, for those of you who don't know, they are a British brand of speakers mainly. So they've historically known for making loudspeakers, and they're still competing in the loudspeaker space, even up until the very high end. So they make the Nautilus, I believe, is their most famous speaker design. And yeah, you can go like their speakers range from like $500 all the way up to, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars. So Bowers & Wilkins has a huge range of loudspeakers and they're quite popular, but they also make some pretty popular headphones and earphones too. I haven't tried their wireless earbuds. I think that's something I might have to try in the future. I've heard good things about their wireless earbuds too, but we're going to take a look at their over-ear headphones because I personally like these the best. I think they had great noise canceling, and they look really nice, right? Very premium, and they're comfortable, and they sound really nice. So yeah, just to give you the technical details, so these have two 40 millimeter full range drivers in them. They have noise cancellation, obviously, and in my opinion, their noise cancellation is pretty good. Like if the Bose like Quiet Comforts, the Bose actually released their Ultra Quiet Comfort models, which is their newest model. So I don't know how that one is, but I tried the noise canceling 700s and the Sony 1000XM5s. Those have the best noise canceling I've heard from a wireless headphones so far, and maybe the Apple AirPods Max as well, but I never tried those. But then Bowers & Wilkins comes right after. This one's like almost like maybe 90% as good as the Sony's and the Bose. So it's still pretty good. It's still much better than the Sennheisers, the Technics, the Bang & Olufsen's, all the other ones I tried. So yeah, noise canceling is pretty good on these ones. It has Bluetooth 5.2 with aptX. Actually, it has aptX, aptX HD, and aptX Adaptive. It does not have LDAC, but it does have all the different aptX codecs. And 30 hours of playback with the battery life. And yeah, it actually uses USB-C as a connection, interestingly enough. So yeah, I can take a look here. So yeah, 40 millimeter drivers and 30 hours of continuous playback, premium finish. So yeah, let's take a look at these ones. Bowers & Wilkins. I would like to try their loudspeakers too. I've never got a chance to try their loudspeakers, but you know, Bowers & Wilkins, KEF, Wharfedale, Monitor Audio, so many great British speaker brands. Alright, and this is the carrying case. It's got a nice blue carrying case for this one, just to match the headphones. Pretty nice. And we get the headphones themselves, and yeah, like I said, these are really nice looking headphones. I just like this this design here, especially in this colorway. It's like this blue and gold colorway, which I like actually even better than their PX7 S2Es. The S2Es don't have this like kind of copper gold finish here. It's just like this blue color. That's it. In my opinion, I like the PX7 S2s. This one looks better in my opinion. Just like this general color combination of gold and blue works pretty well together. and even tells you left and right inside the ear cups. Pretty handy dandy. And yeah, this is feels really nice. This is like some premium like lambskin or something like that, leather, or at least something like that. Maybe it might not be real leather, but definitely feels like that. Very soft, supple leather feel. Headband's really nice too. So these are quite comfortable wireless headphones, and in my opinion, these ones have the best mix. They have a great combination of design plus comfort plus sound quality plus the technology with the noise canceling. So yeah, as you can see from the different controls here, this one I believe is the ambient mode, I guess, to turn off the different modes. So like there's like an ambient mode and then a full noise canceling mode. This one is to turn the headphones on and then pair with Bluetooth. You just slide it all the way up to pair the Bluetooth. Volume up right here, volume down right here. And this middle button here is for multifunction. That's what it says, but I think it can like play or pause a track, something like that. Or maybe, I'm not sure if this is hooked up to the assistant, but maybe you can activate like Google Assistant or something like that. But anyways, I like to have this physical controls better than having touch controls. So I like having physical controls on my headphones because touch controls can always be very finicky sometimes, I find. And uniquely, this headphone actually connects to 3.5 millimeter via USB-C. So this USB-C, of course, is for charging, but you can also use it to connect to your headphone out. So that's pretty unique because most headphones just have a separate 3.5 millimeter, you know, jack, but this one uses USB-C to 3.5, which I think typically when I see that, it means they might have like a DAC or something built in, but here it is. So the two cables included are 3.5, actually USB-C to USB-C, that's to charge the headphones, but then you also get USB-C to 3.5, and this one is a pretty unique cable. I don't see it very often, but yeah, you can go all USB-C to 3.5, so like digital to analog basically. So I guess this has like a DAC or something if it's going digital to analog. Interesting. So yeah, like I said, these so far are my favorite pair of wireless headphones. Now I haven't tried all the wireless headphones, of course, but so far out of the ones I've tested, which is I've tested like a few, like 7 or 8 maybe. This one is my favorite out of that bunch. But now, today we have another new contender to test out. That is the DALI IO-6. So DALI is a Danish speaker company. In fact, they stand for Danish Audiophile Loudspeaker Industries. So yes, they literally have the word audiophile in their company name. So yeah, I always find that interesting. And of course, as a Danish speaker company as well, because there is a lot of Danish speaker companies, believe it or not. For such a small country, they do have a lot of speaker companies. So they have DALI, obviously, but they also have Dyn Audio. Dyn Audio is probably the most well-known out of the Danish speaker companies. Bang & Olufsen, actually Bang & Olufsen might be arguably more well-known than Dyn Audio among mass market consumers, because you see Bang & Olufsen stuff like pretty much everywhere. Even see it co-branded with my HP laptop. So yeah, Bang & Olufsen makes some really cool designs, very nice looking designs. So I think yeah, Bang & Olufsen is fairly well known. Dyn Audio well known among audiophiles who, you know, in the loudspeaker industry. DALI not as well known as Dyn Audio, but they're there, and you know, definitely people know about them as well. And then to a lesser extent, Buchart. Buchart is a relatively newer speaker company, but they also started in Denmark as well and are gaining traction, I guess. So yeah, there's quite a few loudspeaker companies established in Denmark, which is kind of surprising because they're such a small country, right? Who knew? But yeah, DALI historically has been known for loudspeakers. I actually own a pair of their loudspeakers, the DALI Oberon 1s, which is what I use right now for my desktop in conjunction with the Monitor Audio Bronze 50s. Pretty nice speakers. And they go, you know, all the way up to the higher range as well. I just got one of their affordable speakers. But headphones are not really their specialty, and they just recently, I think, started making headphones. So let's take a look. I haven't really tried any DALI headphones before. I think just like KEF also started making headphones too, which I haven't really tried. But yeah, like these loudspeaker companies are getting into like headphone design. I think they took the lead from Full Cal. Full Cal for a long time was a very well known speaker company, and then 10 years ago they started making headphones, and now they're one of the most well known headphone companies among audiophiles. So I guess Kef and DALI, and I guess Bowers and Wilkins as well to a lesser extent, because Bowers and Wilkins actually started making headphones maybe around 10 years ago as well. They've been making them for a while too, but definitely a lot of other speaker companies, they saw Full Cal's success and they started to make headphones as well. So anyways, this one, especially because it's a wireless headphone, which means it's more mass market and for consumers and stuff generally, but we'll see how well it stands up, because I've listened to a lot of headphones, right? I guess you can consider me an audiophile, because I listen to all these different higher end headphones, so I'll be the judge of how well this one sounds. So this is what you get. You get noise canceling, of course. That's pretty much a necessity these days. If you want to compete in high-end wireless headphones, you gotta have noise canceling. And then make it comfortable. Hands-free, call, voice 630 hour battery life. That's the exact same number as Bowers and Wilkins, by the way. 50 millimeter drivers rather than 40 millimeter. That's interesting. So give you the spec rundown. Yeah, 50 millimeter drivers. That's 10 millimeters more than Bowers and Wilkins, but we can't say that size is everything, right? Size doesn't really always determine the sound quality. 30 hours battery playback is the same as Bowers and Wilkins. And the Bluetooth support is just aptX HD, so pretty much the same as Bowers and Wilkins, although I have to say it's Bluetooth 5.0, not 5.2, because the Bowers is 5.2. So, but that's like a minor difference, I guess. It still supports aptX HD. So let's take a look. Again, I've never tried DALI headphones before. Animation music. Okay. Ooh, this comes with a nice premium looking carrying case here. Yeah. Oh, it tells you all the functions of the headphone right on the box itself, so no need to dig into the manual. It just tells you all right there. And then here we have this is a little note here. Congratulations on your new DALI IO. The IO4 and IO6. So they make two different models. The IO4 is their lower end model, and this is their higher end model, the IO6. So let's check out what they... Actually, this is just safety instructions. Maybe I don't have to check it out. I'll just leave this package here. I think it's just safety stuff, and we all know how to use wireless headphones, especially since this one has instructions already built into the box case. So yeah, no need to take a look at that. This carrying case is definitely bigger than the one from the Bowers and Wilkins, I think. Yeah, definitely bigger. I would prefer to have a smaller carrying case, right? Because if it's going to be portable, right, the smaller is always better. But I can see this one's fairly premium. Nice texture here. DALI in admiration and music. Okay, let's see the headphones. Ooh, these are nice. Nice looking. They remind me of the Bang & Olufsen HXs, which I already tried, and I didn't like the HXs that much, actually. They are overpriced to me. But yeah, these kind of remind me of the Bang & Olufsen headphones, like the BO Play headphones in the HX model and stuff. And I guess sort of that makes sense because they're also Danish, but Scandinavian design, you know, I've always loved Danish designs. They've always just been kind of expensive. That's the only thing. A little bit overpriced for me. This is what it comes with. 3.5 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter cable, and USB-A to USB-C right here. Okay. And adapter, this is for airplane. So it comes with an airplane adapter, which is nice because these days you don't find this too often. I think I got this with the Bose Quiet Comfort 35s that I bought way back in the day too. But these days I don't see this very often, that they include an airplane adapter. So that's pretty cool. As you know, guys, like airplanes, they have their own special jacks, so you need to have an adapter in order to listen to their in-flight entertainment systems and stuff. So it's cool they include that. Haven't seen that since the Bose Quiet Comfort 35 days. But yeah, this is what it looks like. DALI on it. So this is a touch control. Unfortunately, I don't like touch controls. Like I said, I prefer to have physical controls like on the Bowers, but this one has touch controls, which are usually quite finicky in my experience. I didn't like that about the some of the Sony headphones as well I had, or the Bose headphones. I didn't like the touch controls either. But anyways, yep, you touch one time to play, pause, and then you double tap it for next track and triple tap it for a previous track. There is some physical controls on here though. So this is like a reset pinhole or something. This is USB-C for charging, and this is I'm guessing this is a button that will allow it to go into ambient mode or whatever. All these wireless headphones have like an ambient mode now, so it's probably a button for that. This looks like the power button right here, the power switch. Yeah, you hold it to turn it on, just like the Bowers. And yeah, that's and this is the 3.5 millimeter to wire the connection. So yeah, this is how most wireless headphones will do the wired connection, just have a 3.5 millimeter jack. The Bowers is the only one I know that uses a USB-C connection to a 3.5. So anyways, I'm gonna try it out. Material wise, I mean, all these high-end wireless headphones have pretty nice materials. This is also this nice sheepskin leather type of material here. Feels pretty nice. Oh, interesting grills on the drivers here. Does it tell me which one is... It doesn't tell me which one's left or right like on the Bowers though. Where do I find that? Not sure which one. Where do I find which side is left or right? Man, okay. I mean, it's a bit harder to find on this headphone compared to the Bowers. Headband is pretty similar to the material. Yeah, it's pretty similar to the material they use on the Bowers actually. Might be the exact same material. It's kind of this vinyl type of material. But anyways, I'm going to try out the DALI IO6s and then compare it with the Bowers PX7 S2, which is my current preferred choice of wireless headphone. Hey guys, today we're going to do the unboxing and overview of a new pair of wireless noise cancelling headphones. So this is the Bowers & Wilkins PX8 McLaren edition. So the PX8 is basically Bowers & Wilkins top of the line flagship wireless headphone. Previously I had the Bowers & Wilkins PX7 S2, which I really liked. I just thought that, you know, this is their new flagship model. I was just really curious how much better did it sound. It is quite a bit more expensive than the PX7 S2. The PX7 S2 sells, retail price is actually like $400. This is double the price of the PX7 S2, $800 MSRP. So definitely quite a bit more expensive than the PX7 S2, but we're talking flagships here. When it comes to audio stuff, it's always diminishing returns because this stuff is more geared towards people who are willing to spend that kind of money. I, of course, did not pay the retail price for this. Actually, the non-McLaren edition, I believe, is $100 cheaper. It's like $700. But yeah, this McLaren edition, $800, is definitely a lot more expensive. And I got it secondhand for $600. And the reason I got this version is not because I'm a huge fan of McLaren or anything. I'm not really interested in sports cars at all. It's just because I think that for the PX8, for whatever reason, Bowers & Wilkins doesn't have as many good finishes as the PX7 S2. The PX7 S2 had that beautiful blue gold finish that I really liked. PX8 doesn't have that. So the McLaren edition just happens to be the colors that I found that looked the best for the PX8. None of their other finishes really looked that great. So I just got the McLaren edition, not because I like McLaren or interested in McLaren, just because I like the colors and the finish more on this edition. So what's the differences between the PX7 and S2? What are you paying for? An upgraded DSP, I believe. So it's a higher resolution 24-bit DSP. Different drivers. They use, they're still the same size. They're both 40 millimeters. That's the same as the PX7 S2s, but they have carbon cones. So that's the different drivers than the ones on the PX7 S2. Again, a better DSP. I'm not sure how much exactly that changes the sound, but I'll have to test it. Noise canceling should be about the same. I was really satisfied with the Bowers & Wilkins PX7 S2 already in terms of the noise cancellation. It's pretty much second only to Sony and Bose's products. So that's pretty impressive. Beat out all the other ones, Sennheiser, Bang & Olufsen. All the other headphones I tried, the wireless ones, it beat out the noise canceling. Audio-Technica beat all of those guys. So Bowers & Wilkins, I think, has pretty good noise canceling technology. It's basically second only to Sony and Bose, which are the market leaders for noise cancellation. However, it sounds a lot better to me than the Sony and the Bose. And this one has more luxurious materials and better build quality. So the PX7 S2 looks really good and really nice, but the materials are still kind of like they got some plastic somewheres. But this one has more luxurious materials. It's got aluminum arms. It's got Nappa leather. It's got memory foam ear pads. So more luxurious materials in this one. That's what you're paying for. The non-McLaren edition's $700, so still quite a bit more expensive than the PX7 S2 or S2Es. And yeah, I know I'm going to do a comparison between this one and just a few weeks ago I actually got the DALI IO6s in, and the IO6s are probably closer to the PX8 in price, although the PX8 is still at a higher tier. I think the PX8 along with the Focal Bathies and the Mark Levinson 5909s, these are probably the most expensive. Actually, I think Audio-Technica is a really expensive model too, but these are probably among the most expensive wireless headphones that you can get on the market. Now, the reason I don't have those other ones to compare is because, well, I'm not like a reviewer that's sponsored. I don't make a lot of money from YouTube, especially after I lost all my subscribers in the last few months. And yeah, I don't have enough spare pocket change to get all the headphones in the world, of course. So it would be nice to compare to the Mark Levinsons, to the Focal Bathies, and to the Audio-Technica higher end stuff, but I don't have enough money just to get every kind of headphone. I chose the PX8 because I already had experience with the PX7 S2 and really liked it. So I'm curious about the higher end stuff. And I know Bathies and stuff, you can find them cheap as well. Like some of the Focal Bathies you can actually find, you know, cheaper than this McLaren edition if you get them secondhand. And I would highly recommend those to people who are looking for a nice pair of wireless noise canceling headphones secondhand. The Focal Bathies are a nice choice. I've just personally never been a huge fan of Focal sound. Just found them to be a little bit too neutral for me. Didn't find them as fun or exciting compared to Bowers and Wilkins stuff. I know Focals is more audiophile or whatever, but I've tried everything from their lower end stuff. You know, I've tried their Lears, which are like fairly entry level, I would say, up until their Clears, which are really like popular, and all the way to their top end Utopia. So yeah, I've always just never been a fan of Focal sound. They're very, very detailed. I know that, and they're very popular amongst audiophiles. I just never found the tuning as fun to my taste compared to other brands. So yeah, nothing on Focals. I think the Bathies are probably very good headphones, but yeah, just for me, I went with the PX8. And plus I like the design of Bowers and Wilkins stuff better. Focals have always looked very, I mean, they have a very distinctive look, and I've just never been a huge fan of that. Oh yeah, the Allegias as well. That's another pair of Focals I've tried before, which I wasn't really impressed by. And the Elexes. Elexes are a bit too analytical for me as well. But yeah, here we go. Bowers & Wilkins PX7 McLaren Edition. This is a special, I don't know if it's limited edition, but it's definitely a special edition. The PX8 usually costs $100 more, but I managed to get this one still on like relatively like discounted, I would say. Not too discounted, but relatively discounted, like $200 off. So anyways, we'll take a look at this, just unboxing. So McLaren, for those of you guys who don't know, they're a British maker of sports cars, and they also compete in Formula One racing. So they're probably just, yeah, they're very well known among sports car enthusiasts. Now, I'm not a sports car enthusiast, but you know, people who are into sports cars can probably tell you guys more about them. All I know is that they're a luxury brand of sports cars, and they compete in racing. So, anyways, here you go, McLaren. That's a nice custom case, branded with their name, and I guess this is the quick start guide here. So I guess McLaren's colors are orange and black by the looks of it. Yeah, orange and black. And yeah, like I said, I went for this edition because I think that this is probably the best finish for the PX8. Now, I still don't like it quite as much as the Bowers & Wilkins PX7 S2 blue and gold finish, but they don't have that kind of finish on the PX8. The closest they have is a burgundy and gold, which I don't really like. I find that the McLaren finish is pretty good, at least. Still like I still would have preferred blue and gold, but you know, orange and black isn't bad either. It's pretty good. So yeah, here's Bowers and McLaren, two British high-performance brands that share a love of pushing the boundaries of what is possible in their respective spheres. And yeah, there's a McLaren edition offer high-performance wireless sound quality, synonymous. Yeah. Now, what does sports cars have to do with a company like Bowers & Wilkins that makes speakers and headphones? I'm not too sure, but I guess they're both British, so at least they have that in common. So the S2 and PX8, oh, they have the same quick start guide for the, this looks like the PX7 S2 actually. Yeah, so I guess they have the exact same controls, which is fine. I always didn't have a issue with the PX7 S2. I found that their design is already pretty good. So if they have a similar design for PX8, that's good. Fine. I'm happy with the controls of the PX7 S2 already. No need to change those. Alright, now let's take a look at the case. Now just for comparison, I do have the PX7 S2s here. So exact same case design, just one is going to be branded Bowers & Wilkins, one with McLaren, and different colors. McLaren being, again, more black and orange aesthetic. Okay, so here's what it looks like. This is the PX8s. Very similar design to the PX7 S2 from a surface level. It's just that they use more premium materials, and the case design is exactly the same. So you get USB-C to USB-C connector. Of course, this is to charge the headphone. And then the 3.5 millimeter connector is interesting because as far as I know, only Bowers & Wilkins does this. They have a USB-C to 3.5 millimeter connector. They do not use the 3.5 to 3.5 like other wireless headphone brands do. So this is pretty interesting. They use a USB-C to 3.5. So it's essentially like they got a digital analog converter, right? A DAC inside of the headphone that handles the conversion. But this is a digital to analog connection, which is very interesting. And that's pretty much it for the case. It's exactly the same as the PX7 S2. So I'll show you guys is what the PX7 S2 looks like. Very similar, just different materials and stuff on the headphone, but otherwise design looks very similar and exact same design for the case. So case wise, no difference between the PX8 and PX7 S2s. Okay, now for the headphones. So yeah, this is what the headphones look like. And side by side, this is the PX7 S2s, which are half the price. I think from a glance, it doesn't seem like the PX8 is worth double the price. Just from the design perspective, they're pretty similar. It's just that PX8 uses more premium materials. So this part right here looks pretty good on the PX7 S2. Again, I like this color combination of blue and gold. I think this is a really nice color combination. Don't know why that the PX8s don't have anything similar, but McLaren still look good, right? They have this one has a nice brushed aluminum finish on the ear cups here. So this definitely looks more premium compared to the PX7 S2. This is actually brushed aluminum. And yeah, on the side here you have like these like vents, I guess. Not sure if these are actually functional, but yeah, you have the exact same thing on the PX8s. And then the controls are pretty much the same as well. So if you're familiar with the PX7's controls, you'll be familiar with the PX8's controls. They're pretty much exactly the same. So you have this button is to turn it on as a switch, and then you have Bluetooth pairing, which you can just hold up the switch. Exact same both. Then you have a volume up, volume down, and a play pause right here. And then you have this is the turning on the different modes and stuff. So if you want like the ambient mode, yeah, there's a different like full noise canceling versus ambient mode and stuff. You can use that. Then you have the USB-C connector right down here. Exactly the same design on both headphones. Yeah, so the only major difference would be the materials that they use. I can tell just from filling up the headbands from these two that the PX8's is softer. Yeah, so the PX7's headband is nice vinyl-like material, whereas the PX8's, yeah, this is supposed to be very soft, supple Napa leather. And same thing for the ear cups as well. This is very soft, supple Napa leather. Whereas on the PX7's, it still feels pretty good, but it's more like a vinyl type of feel. So not quite as soft. Still nice on the PX7's, just, yeah, it's a more vinyl type of feel. Whereas on the PX8's, it definitely feels a little bit more softer and suppler. This is being like real Napa leather. Definitely more premium materials on the PX8. And then you can tell like this part that they use here, headband, is plastic. It's really nice looking plastic, but it's still plastic. PX8's, yeah, this is definitely, you can tell it's more sturdier. It's This is like aluminum, I guess. So yeah, definitely nicer materials used here, more premium materials. This one badged with McLaren as well on the headband. And yeah, the orange and gray finish, I guess. Sorry, not black, gray it seems. So the gray and orange finish is the McLaren finish. I think this is probably the best looking out of the PX8 finishes. I would have still preferred the blue and gold, but they don't have one for the PX8. But yeah, I think all the upgrades seem to be mostly limited to the materials in the appearance side and then the internals. So internally, what's changed under the hood is that the PX8 has a better DSP and the drivers are a bit different. Actually, they both have memory foam ear pads. So I guess the ear pads are fairly similar in function. They're both memory foam ear pads. The main difference in drivers is that the PX8 uses carbon cone drivers, 240mm carbon cone drivers, and then the PX7 S2s use 240mm biocellulose drivers, which, yeah, they're different materials for sure. But that's not to say biocellulose is always worse, because I've seen the Fostex TH900 also use those, and those are pretty high-end headphones I've tried before too. So they're just different materials. I'll have to try them out to see if the PX8 is, worth. Definitely, the sound quality is a noticeable improvement or not. They both support the same Bluetooth codecs, aptX Adaptive, aptX HD, of course AC and SBC and normal aptX. No LDAC, unfortunately. But yeah, fairly similar, I'd say. Design is fairly similar. Profile looks fairly similar. I can tell that the PX8, like the ear cups, are angled, whereas on the PX7 S2 they're not. So you can tell that these ones are angled in and these ones are not. Wonder if that makes a difference in sound quality. Materials, the PX8 uses more premium materials and newer DSP, like I said, and different drivers. So that's been the main upgrade. Now, is it worth double the price? Well, I don't think so, just from the changes. But, we're always paying, for audiophiles, we're always paying a lot more money for marginal gains, right? That's to be expected. So yeah, I'm just going to test these two out and see what the difference is. Okay, so I just connected it to my music player and start playing some music and tell you guys what I think. First of all, as soon as I put it on, I can tell you guys the active noise cancelling is great. Like I said, I love the Bowers & Wilkins noise cancellation. It's second only to Sony and Bose and AirPod Max, basically. But very good noise cancellation on the Bowers. 90% as good as the Sony and the Bose. And the sound quality I like a lot better, actually, than the Sony and the Bose. Yeah, so like I said before in my previous video, the Sony and the Bose wireless headphones, they have too much bass for me. It's a very mainstream tuning. Like a lot of people who listen to like hip hop and pop and stuff like that, modern music, will like it, but for me, because I listen to so many different styles of music, I prefer to have a more balanced tuning. Well, I wouldn't say the Bowers is completely balanced or anything, but it's definitely more balanced than the Sony and the Bose type sound. Like the mid-range on this headphone is pretty prominent, so when I listen to vocal tracks and stuff like that, it's really nice. And that's not to say there's no bass or anything. There's definitely bass, but it's just not pushed up as much as on the Sony and Bose headphones. So I do like the fact the mid-range is a little bit forward on these Bowers, but pretty good. Like I said, testing all of those different wireless headphones, these ones were my favorite. Okay, yeah, so these are nice headphones. There's a reason I chose it out of that group. I do like the sound, I love the design, it's very comfortable, and there's very good noise cancellation on these. So all in all, and for $300, because it's now like this is the old model, I guess, the newer PX7 S2Es are just like a marginal improvement. So anyways, I just got the older one for a good deal now. Alright, now I'm going to try the DALI IO6s. Alright, actually I finally found out where the left and right ear cups are located, or how they indicate it. So it basically is just on the side here. So basically this side says left, and then this side says right here. Basically I would have to like kind of look for it, whereas on the Bowers it's pretty easy, right? It's just on the ear cups themselves. So anyways, found out where it is. Wow, These headphones actually sound really good. Like, there's a lot of detail. I think these are actually even more mid-forward than the Bowers. I think the Bowers like a little bit mid-forward, but not that much. Actually, I don't think the Bowers are that mid-forward at all. These actually are mid-forward, yeah. Okay. These are actually really nice headphones. I think these might be a little bit, like, they're different compared to the Bowers. I think they both have a lot of detail. It's just what kind of sound signature you prefer. Because the DALIs are more, it's a little bit more mid-forward, and the trebles are like more emphasized as well. The bass is a little bit more lean. So these ones have like I guess a flatter bass. So the bass is present, but it's not like emphasized or anything. It's mostly the mids and some of the upper mid-range I think is very emphasized on the headphones. So overall, it's a very nice sounding pair of headphones. So I give props to DALI. These I think are one of the nicest sounding headphones I've ever listened to. Like this one, the Bowers and the Sennheiser Momentum 4s, all pretty nice sounding. So yeah, it's really up there with Sennheiser and the Bowers. These are all really nice in terms of detail. It's just this one is the sound signature is more on the, well, I would say like totally balanced, but it's a little bit more emphasizing the mid-range. Definitely not the bass as much. So a little bit flat bass, but the mid-range and the highs are pretty well emphasized, I think. So yeah, those of you who are looking at the Sennheiser Momentum 4s might want to check these ones out as well. You might actually like these ones too. So pretty good. Compared to the Bowers, yeah, the Bowers actually, after listening and comparing them, these are actually not that mid-forward. It's actually, these ones have a lot more bass actually than the DALIs do. So not as much as the Sonys or Bose do, but these definitely have more bass compared to the DALIs. Mid-range and trebles are all there. It's just the DALIs have more of it. In terms of the soundstage, I think the DALIs actually might have more of that. They both have a lot of detail. So really, I think comes down to sound signature. But I do have to say one thing is if you're considering this as a pair of wireless headphones for on the go for traveling, which is what I'll be using it with, noise cancellation, right, that kind of technology, it does matter. And the DALIs, when I put it on, the noise cancellation is okay. I mean, it's like it's not the best actually. It's just a very okay like amount of noise cancellation. So pretty average, I would say. I'm on the wireless noise cancelling headphones I've listened to. So similar to say the Bang & Olufsen HX. So that level of noise cancellation. So it's not the best. It's just a okay level of noise cancellation. It'll cut out about like 50-60% of the noise you hear. But then the Bowers, like I said, has really nice noise cancellations. When I put on the Bowers, yeah, like close to 80% of noise is cut out. So the Bowers definitely have better noise cancellation compared to the DALIs. So that's one thing to consider as well. Also, just a personal thing, I prefer the design of the Bowers more. I mean, I love the color, this blue gold color, and then the unique design of the Bowers, whereas the DALIs look like they look like Bang & Olufsen's, honestly. Especially if you get that white brown colorway, then that looks very similar to a pair of Bang & Olufsen headphones. So it's not like my favorite design, but it's nice. It's just not my preferred design. I prefer the Bowers design a little bit more. So I think that's what it comes down to. Your sound signature, your design preferences, and how much you value the noise cancellation. So out of these two, if you really want to have the better noise cancellation and better design, I would choose the Bowers. Although, you know, design is subjective. Some people like this design as well. It's very Scandinavian, I would say. So yeah, I would say yeah, noise cancellation for sure. The Bang & Olufsen wins on that. Sound quality, it's a matter of preference. I would say the DALIs are better for people who want to have, if you guys listen to more like vocal tracks or like just the guitar, you know, guitar tracks or something like that. Good for like tracks that emphasize, you know, the highs and mid-range. I would say that the DALIs are good for. Overall, I think the DALIs do have probably a bit better sound quality. But the Bowers and Wilkins has more bass, so if you guys listen to songs with more bass, then the Bowers and Wilkins has that. In terms of overall sound quality, I think the DALIs might beat out the Bowers by a small margin. And probably it's like I said, if you're into the Sennheiser Momentum 4s, you might like the DALIs too, because it is more towards the balanced side compared to the Bowers. So it's yeah, then neither of them are like totally neutral or balanced or anything, but the DALI is definitely more towards the balanced than the Bowers are. So yeah, very nice pair of wireless headphones. I'm actually surprised because DALI only makes 2 headphones. They only, actually no, they make 3 now. Yeah, they make the IO12, which is their super high-end one, which I haven't tried now. So they don't make too many headphones. But the IO6 is very impressive. So yeah, this now competes in the same category. I would say like this is like what, $400, $500? But you can find it for about $400 now, I think. So at this price, I would definitely take these over the Bang & Olufsen HXs for sure. So these ones like sounded much better to me than the Bang & Olufsen HX or their higher end headphones. I always thought Bang & Olufsen is more like style than substance. Not to say that they sound bad, but just overpriced. Whereas these ones sound like their price. They're not overpriced. They sound good for their price. So definitely I would pick these over the equivalent priced Bang & Olufsen's for sure. So anyways, pretty nice pair of headphones. So far, the 3 best sounding headphones I've listened to are the Bowers & Wilkins PX7 S2, the DALI IO6s, and the Sennheiser Momentum 4s, which, by the way, I ended up, like, I don't have that headphone anymore because I prefer the Bowers noise cancellation over the Sennheisers. I think noise cancellation was the main issue why the Sennheisers wasn't as good for me. And the appearance as well. I like the Bowers design better than the Sennheisers. So yeah, anyways, I think those 3 are probably the 3 best wireless headphones I've listened to so far. And by the way, this is the same reason why I didn't get the Sennheiser Momentum 4s, is because although I like the sound quality, the noise cancellation wasn't up to par with the Bowers. And same thing here with the DALIs. Like, the sound quality is pretty good, but the noise cancellation technology isn't up to par with the Bowers. And for me, that's an important thing because I'll be traveling with these, so the noise cancellation is kind of important. And if I'm at home, I can just use any number of my wired headphones instead. But you know, that's just for me, my preference. I know everyone's different. So if you guys let me know in the comment section below which headphone would you guys pick, which one would you guys go for. Alright, so although I liked the DALI IO6s, I think the sound was definitely impressive, and I didn't expect it to actually sound as good as it did. I still ended up picking the Bowers & Wilkins PX7 S2 because it just sounded more dynamic to me, more of a lively sound. And yeah, the noise cancellation and everything was just better on the Bowers & Wilkins. But then later on I decided to get the Bowers & Wilkins PX8 as well, and that's why you see that, you know, unboxing and everything in the video just quite a bit differently and separate from the DALI comparison. So yeah, I decided to just get this a little bit later, so I don't have the DALIs with me anymore. I do have the PX8s, and I still have the PX7 S2s. So now I'll be comparing these two, which I think is interesting because the PX8s are definitely considered the step-up model and their flagship wireless headphone actually. It definitely costs more. It costs around like $300 more actually than the PX7 S2. But yeah, I think this is where I'll be doing the comparison. I don't have the DALIs anymore. I will be putting them all in the same sound comparison test after this, of course, so you guys can hear them all. But at this moment, I'll just be doing the comparison between the PX8s and the Bowers PX7 S2 because that's the 2 I have on hand right now. I did pick the PX7 S2 over the DALIs already. So yeah, basically I'll be comparing this one against this one, the step-up model. The PX7 S2, again, it retails for about $400 right now. The new edition is the PX7 S2E, which is honestly not that different from the PX7 S2. It just has a better DSP. But the PX8, this is the McLaren edition, just a color difference, that's it. Yeah, just an aesthetic difference, that's basically it. They usually charge more for the McLaren edition because of the branding, but the internals are the same. But yeah, this is about $300 more than the PX7 S2 retails for about $700. So quite a bit, but you know, I like the Bowers & Wilkins sound, so I'm just curious to see how this one compares with each other. And this is basically how it would look like. So again, I actually like the PX7 S2 model better. In terms of noise isolation, it's pretty good. Obviously, noise cancellation is good on the PX7 S2, as I already talked about that. But I do like this colorway, I guess, which is blue and gold. So I think it's a really nice colorway. The PX8s don't have that. It does have better construction, but it doesn't have the colorway. So yeah, more premium materials on the PX8s. Doesn't look quite as good. Even the McLaren edition, although it's my favorite colorway of the PX8, still doesn't look as good as the blue and gold, honestly. So I don't know why Bowers doesn't have something like that. But yeah, that's what it looks like. Noise isolation is about the same as the PX7 S2s. Noise cancellation is again about the same. So I think the main improvement comes with the drivers. You guys can see that the drivers are different. These drivers are just more like normal drivers that face your ears. These drivers are angled, so and they're made of different, right? These are carbon cone drivers. So yeah, they're a little bit different. And of course the materials are different as well. So yeah, stay tuned, but basically I'll be giving you guys a more thorough in-depth comparison of the PX8s versus the PX7 S2s. And then after that, I'll do a sound comparison test, and then you guys let me know which one you guys prefer in the comment section below. Okay, so after listening to both of these for a while, I think it's actually very interesting because they are very different from each other. Even though the design that looks pretty similar, right, just for the material differences, but the actual sound is quite different. The PX7 S2 is a very, it's more V-shaped. It's a more dynamic, lively sounding headphone. It's more intimate sounding. And yeah, it's clearly a more V-shaped headphone compared to the PX8s. So it's got more bass definition, and you hear more highs as well. The mid-range, not quite as much because it's scooped a little bit. But again, it's not as bad as some other headphones I've owned before. So it's not like a very V-shape, but it's definitely more on the V-shape side compared to the PX8s. And definitely it's emphasizing the bass and treble a lot. So it's a very lively sounding headphone. The PX8s, very different. They're not as lively or dynamic sounding as the PX7 S2s. They're not V-shaped. They're actually kind of more neutral, more balanced, more neutral. So it's not really emphasizing the bass or the mid-range or treble as much. It's like more of a reference tuning, I guess you could call it. People say reference tuning, or audiophiles call that when it's like a more flatter type of signature, although it's not obviously not perfectly flat or anything. It's just relatively more flat compared to the PX7s. The PX7 is definitely more of a V-shape, emphasizing the bass and the treble, whereas the PX8's more of a balanced, even frequency response, where you hear a lot of, decent amount of bass, decent amount of mids, decent amount of treble, but nothing is really pushed up or forward. Also, the soundstage is definitely bigger and wider on the PX8s, whereas the PX7s feel more intimate. So what this means is that when I'm listening to music, PX7 sounds like the instruments are more closer to me and the vocals are more closer to me, whereas the PX8 sound like they're farther away, like they're on like a bigger stage essentially. And that's not even like necessarily a better thing. That's almost like preference. Some songs I'd rather prefer the vocalist or the instruments be closer to me or closer sounding. The PX8s just sound like they're farther away. The sound is more refined on the PX8s, and I know that's a hard term to kind of know what it means, but basically, I just feel like it's a more relaxing listen. Whereas the PX7's very energetic, dynamic, and lively, the PX8's just like, it's a more laid back, relaxing sounding. The same, like I'm listening to, the same kind of songs on both. It's just more relaxing and more laid back on the PX8 compared to the PX7s, where they feel like they have more energy. So that's, again, not even something that's better on the PX8. It's just a preference thing. So whether you prefer something, if you prefer a smoother, relaxing, more refined listen, then the PX8s definitely are that. But then if you want something that's more intimate, more dynamic and lively sounding, more energetic sounding, then the PX7s are definitely more like that. So that's the interesting thing I found, is that the PX8 is not overall better in everything. It's better in some ways. It's got a bigger soundstage. It's a more refined listen. It's more balanced tuning, but it's not always better because everyone prefers something different, right? So some people prefer to have more bass and more highs. Maybe listen to, like, I think for modern music, that's a lot of people prefer that. So then the PX7s, I think, are better for modern music because you have a lot of more bass and highs compared to the PX8. It's a more intimate listen too, and also more energetic and lively. So I don't think that the PX8's necessarily even better. Obviously, both are very comfortable. Both have very good noise canceling. and they have the same technologies and stuff. I just think in this case it's a case of preference, right? If you're gonna pay double the price for the PX8s, it's just for a different kind of signature. It's not necessarily that much better. So I just want everyone to know that when you're upgrading from the PX7 to PX8s is not necessarily an upgrade in terms of sound. It's just a different kind of sound. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to end off here. I'm going to do a sound comparison test between the two after this, so you guys can kind of hear some of the differences. But to me, it's just a preference thing. It's not that the PX8 is just better in every way. It's not. The PX8s have a bigger soundstage. They're more refined listen. They're more balanced tuning. But that's not necessarily always better. For some music genres, you might prefer the PX7. PX7 is more dynamic, more lively sounding. The bass and treble are pushed up more. It's more intimate. So yeah, so it really depends on what type of music you're listening to, what kind of music sound you prefer. So yeah, to me, that's my conclusions here. Neither are actually better than the other in every way. They're just different listens. So yeah, and you can say that for the price. The PX7 is definitely better for the price. The value that you get out of the PX7s, especially since you can find this like pretty easily refurbished for $300 US, I would say no brainer. If you have, if you want looking for the best sound for the money, the PX7 S2s are definitely a better value because you get really nice sound out of these already. You're paying like almost double the price for the PX8s, but it's not even necessarily better in every way. So definitely the PX7s, S2s, or the S2Es now, they're a better value than the PX8s. But if you're looking for a different kind of sound, with a wider soundstage, you know, you don't like the V-shaped, or you want the soundstage to be wider, you don't like the intimate soundstage of this one, you want the sound to sound like maybe more relaxed or more smoother, then the PX8 is maybe worth the upgrade. But I will say that the PX7s are the better value out of the two. So now compared to the DALI IO6s, I think it's pretty interesting. The PX8s have a bigger soundstage than the IO6. It's a more refined, more relaxing listen compared to the IO6. However, the IO6 does have a more balanced tuning than the PX7 S2s. So if you like the sound of the PX7 S2s, but you just wish that it was more balanced, but you still like the intimate soundstage and the dynamic quality of it, then yeah, the IO6s are probably a better bet than either of these. But again, I think it's just another sound preference thing, right? PX7 S2 is for people who want that kind of like a slight V-shaped sound signature with an intimate soundstage. Very lively sounding, energetic. IO6s are basically that, but with a more balanced tuning, not as much V-shaped as the Bowers. And then if you're looking for something that's more balanced, you like the balanced tuning of the IO6, but you want bigger soundstage with a more relaxed, refined, smoother feel, then the PX8 is the way to go. Now, I haven't tried the full cow Bathies or the Mark Levinson 5909s, but yeah, basically I would say at this price point, it's more about sound preference, not necessarily just about sound quality. It's more about the sound preferences. So I don't think that, like I have a suspicion that the Bathies and the Mark Levinsons are not going to be better in every way. I think it's going to be like the PX8s where it's like more of a preference thing. And of course, the PX8 does have better build quality, better materials and everything. It's got a more luxurious looking finish. I personally still prefer the blue and gold finish on the PX7 S2 over any of the finishes of the PX8. But I do have to, admit that the PX8 does have overall more luxurious materials and stuff. So yeah, if you're looking to upgrade just based on the aesthetics, then I can understand that. So in terms of aesthetics, of course, PX8 is a clear winner in terms of the materials used and everything. In terms of sound quality, though, I think that's a very subjective thing. I don't think that there's a clear winner in terms of the sound quality. It just depends on what you're looking for. But yeah, definitely in terms of the aesthetics, I think PX8 definitely has more luxurious looking build and uses more premium materials for sure. Well, yeah, another thing I don't like about full cows is that they don't really have a big sound stage. Like even their higher end stuff, like the Utopias, which is their flagship, doesn't really have a wide sound stage compared to other similar priced headphones. So that's another reason I don't really go for full cows, is their sound stage could definitely be improved, I feel, on their headphones. Very detailed, sure, but they definitely need more sound stage, I think. And also the PX8s, I find, have a more detailed mid-range as well. And that's one area where the PX7 S2 is maybe because it's like more of a V-shape, The mids are slightly recessed and also not as detailed sounding. I mean, the bass and treble are nice on the PX7s, but yeah, the PX8 definitely more rounded, well balanced, and more detailed mid-range, I think, for sure. Another thing I want to mention is that both of these headphones have pretty good passive noise isolation as well. So not even turning on the active noise cancellation, which by the way, like I said, is pretty good on both of these models. Even the passive noise isolation, like I don't even have to turn on the headphone, I just put it on my ears, and already a lot of the outside noise, I would say about 40% is already blocked out. And then when you turn on the active noise cancellation, roughly around 80% is blocked out. So pretty darn good. Another thing is mentioned the physical controls. Pretty much the same on both, like I mentioned, but I do appreciate that they have these physical controls, because on a lot of consumer wireless headphones, like the Sony's, for example, 1000 XM5s or XM4s, you know, those kind of models, they have these touch controls, which I don't really like as much. I think the Sennheiser Momentum 4s also might have those as well. Yeah, I prefer to have physical controls. They're not as finicky as touch controls are. And yeah, just going over it again, yeah, it's pretty simple to operate, really. It's like you just hold up position, like basically this one turns it on, and then you hold in the up position, and they'll do the Bluetooth pairing. Very simple to operate. This one is just turning on the ambient mode, and then this one volume up and down. This is a multifunction button. You press once to once to play and pause. Double tap it to go to the next track, and triple tap it to go to the previous track. Very simple to operate, and there's no finicky gestures to mess around with. So that's another thing. I do like the physical controls on both of these. So basically the TLDR on both of these is that the PX7 S2 is definitely better for the price. The PX7 S2 sounds more dynamic and energetic. It's more V-shaped, has a more intimate soundstage. However, the PX8 definitely has a more luxurious build, more luxurious materials. It has a wider soundstage. It has more mid details, more laid back delivery, more refined sound, and a more balanced tuning. So it really depends on what sound signature you're looking for. If you're willing to pay that extra money, if you like the Bowers design, but you want a more balanced tuning with a more open soundstage and better build quality, then yeah, for sure, pay up the extra money for the PX8. I think for most people, the PX7 S2 would actually be the better buy, but you know, again, PX8 is there. It exists for a reason, because definitely there are merits to getting that one as well. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I will have a sound comparison test coming out with the PX7 S2, the PX8, and actually the DALI IO6s as well. So let me know what you guys think. But for me, I think it's a matter of different preferences for the sound. Yeah, for me, I do like both of them. So it's hard for me to actually choose one. If I were to just stay with one, I definitely think that the PX8 is probably what I'll stay with, just because I like to have the more wide open soundstage. And even though this one's more intimate and stuff, I think this one is, you can find like other headphones that have V-shaped. It's very common in consumer wireless headphones to actually have that V-shaped tuning. To have a balanced tuning with this kind of soundstage, and this is probably one of the best sound stages I've ever heard from a wireless headphone. I haven't tried the Full Cal Bathys or Mark Levinson 5909s, but this is one of the biggest sound stages I've heard from a wireless closed back headphone. So yeah, so far I think that this is more harder to find on the market, but yeah, that's just me, you know. Ideally, I think actually having both of them would actually be fine, since they're different tunings, but you know, if I had to pick one, I'll probably go for the PX8, but that's just me. So let me know what you guys think, guys. And as always, thanks for watching.